think we're ready to get into the meat of our meal.
Yes, the juicy part of the week.
The juicy, the steak. Moon Knight episode 3.
Mm-hmm. Oh, such a good episode.
So, initial thoughts. Obviously, the setting has changed. At the end of episode 2, we're in Egypt.
Mm.
What do you think of the way Egypt was portrayed?
They definitely showed. I've never been to Egypt, so it's hard to I guess, know how accurate it is as a general lifestyle. But I got the culture feel that they were in Egypt, and a more modern day Egypt, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like in a lot of Western media, Egypt is still depicted as a third world country.
Hmm.
And it's definitely not anymore. Don't get me wrong, there's still going to be a lot of desert there because a large part of desert is uninhabitable. But they've also got huge cities,
Yeah.
just like London or LA or New York or anything. So I think, and do you know what the show actually shows? The show shows, or you don't get content like this anywhere else. What they've done really well in the show,
Mm-hmm.
and what the show proves, is that you need people from that culture to accurately depict that culture. So the director being from Egypt
Yeah.
has definitely influenced that.
Oh, yeah.
No white director who's lived their entire life in America or England is going to depict Egypt like that.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why culture leading, directing, and acting in culture is so important. I thought once again it looked really good. The story is very compelling. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think overall the episode was great. It was funny. There was some things we talked about last week that we were almost right on. Some we were right on, and then there's some things we were almost right on, but slightly wrong.
I think obviously the main takeaway from this episode is once again them teasing that third personality in a much more
in your face way.
Yeah, exactly. The last couple of weeks, like I said it to you, and you went, "Oh, I didn't even think of that."
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I hadn't really seen anyone talking about it that much. This week, they were like, "Do you get it now?"
Yeah.
I also really enjoyed, and I don't know, I really enjoyed the parallel. In the first two episodes, we had Stephen losing time, and now we're getting Mark losing time. On one occasion, it was Stephen who took over, but then we know on another occasion it wasn't Stephen who took over. It was this other persona.
Yeah.
So my thoughts on the third persona. I think the persona is still going to be called Jake.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have no reason to change the name.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, like how they changed Stephen from being this rich millionaire into just a lowly museum worker, I think we're going to see some changes to Jake's character to suit what they want from the character more, which is fine by me. But I'm really curious if the third personality being revealed is a season payoff, or if it's like a end of episode 4, middle of episode 5 payoff, so that we have all 3 of them for the last episode.
I think it'll be more of like an end of episode 4 payoff, because we had at the end of episode 2 was like when you finally understood what was going on about Mark and Stephen. So then I think they'll do the same again. I like how we thought this episode was going to be like, okay, Mark's just going to be in control, but it wasn't exactly that. It was like you said, the flip where we do, like the directors even said was going to happen. Like you're going to see it from Stephen's, and now we're seeing it from Mark's point of view. I liked how they really did tease the third personality being like, oh, that wasn't Stephen's, like, that wasn't me in control or whatever. Like, and I get the sense this third personality is going to be a lot more aggressive.
Yeah.
From whatever the fight was happened and it wasn't the other two, you get this sense that, which then makes me question in that first episode when there's the fight going on in that town.
Yeah.
And he gets surrounded, and then he comes back, and everything's bloody. Like, was that Mark, or was that the third one? Because
it's a good question, and I think that's what they want to do. They're just trying to keep us guessing without it being the big bad.
Yeah, they're trying to make us figure out the gaps without having to tell us all the gaps straight away and who was them, which I really do like.
I know some people who aren't super fucking nerds like us might be struggling with that, but I do hope they're also enjoying it.
I think as it goes on, as long as those people stick with the show, like, things will become clearer. And I think, like, towards the end of the episode, when he swapped to Steven and we didn't get like a blank spot, we actually saw a continuation of the story, and it's like, okay, we're now in Steven's perspective. That is them now, like, okay, you are going to constantly see both Mark and Steven. We're not going to do blank spots there. The blank spot going forward is going to be this third guy till they figure out who the third guy is. Yeah. And then it'll just like seamlessly swap between the three. Like, there'll be no like blank spots thereafter. So I think they're slowly like just building it up, and it will become clearer for the viewers there.
I think the main payoff of the entire series is going to be the three personalities working together like Steven and Mark currently are.
Yeah. I liked how they finally, like, there was this kind of character point where they were like, okay, let's work together on this. Like, I realize I need Steven for this, and Steven was like, okay, I will help you with this. I'm not going to try and make us run away, sort of thing.
Do you know what else is the biggest, in hindsight, tease of the third personality?
Go on.
The posters. One poster was Moon Knight, which we know is Mark. One poster was Mr. Knight, which we know is Steven. The other poster
was like hooded up.
Was hooded in the clothes he was wearing at the end of episode 3.
Almost like a boxer would be hooded up, or someone that's like...
But he was wearing the exact same outfit he was wearing at the end of episode 3.
True.
So, like, it's just another little thing that we can look back on now after two and a bit hours worth of the show and go, oh, look, David, he was over there all along. And, like, obviously, people like ourselves who are more aware that he had three personalities were going, oh, there's lots of threes going on here. In the end credits, his face splits into 3 at the end of each episode. But if you don't know that the man has 3 personalities, you're not even going to particularly notice that.
No, or like with them now talking about another personality, so certain people are going to then think, oh, how many does he have?
And, I mean, there's no reason the MCU has to stop at 3.
No.
I think the main thing for them is getting the 3 comic book ones there. And then if they decide they want to add more, they can. My favourite bit of the entire episode was when there was no cuts when they changed personality for the first time. Showing that harmony, but also the talent of Oscar Isaac to go from this one character to this other character in the same shot with no real break so seamlessly. I was very impressed by.
Oh, yeah. Like, you couldn't... It was... Like, it was that moment, and by him selling that so well, like, you get a different kind of feeling of that switch. Like, before we got blank spots, and you kind of felt that kind of jar of, okay, he swapped personalities there. Here it was like, oh, this is like, they're just the same person. Like, not the same person, but like they are the same being, just like it flows now. I really loved the whole turning back the night sky, the visual effects for that. But I know it's Disney and I know the budget's big, but like even for a TV show, visual effects often are kind of corners are slightly cut in places because the budgets aren't as big as a film and time limit isn't as long. But they nailed the visual effects on that.
It was really fucking cool.
I also loved the fact we got a bit more interaction with Khonshu and a bit more background to what's gone on there. The whole like meeting inside the
That was
pyramid,
really cool as well.
that was really cool and really well done. And it's super interesting to then get to see like, oh, there's other avatars for the other gods. Like,
Yeah.
there's like a council of them.
Yeah, it's not just Khonshu's a brat, so he wanted an avatar. They all have avatars.
There was a really small detail. I don't know if you picked up on it, but when the meeting had like ended and Mark was speaking with I forget the antagonist's name.
Arthur Harrow.
Arthur. You could hear the glass in his sandals.
Can you?
Yeah, if you listen carefully, like I picked up on it because it's something that's just like stuck with me since that first episode. But like as he's always walking, they are adding like there's this slight sound effect of like crunching glass that just
really
reminds you that oh yeah, he's still walking on glass this whole time. Like that's a regular thing for him to be doing. Just small details that like continuity throughout the episodes they're carrying forward.
Yeah.
Trying to think what else happened. There was so much shit to go on.
I mean, did you pick up on the person we were introduced to?
What the collector guy?
Yeah, that's Midnight Man.
Oh, is it?
That's the actor who was playing Midnight Man in this show who passed away.
Oh,
Anton Murgar.
That completely went over my head.
Yeah.
Mainly because I forget names and stuff.
Yeah. Obviously the character's Anton. I forget the gentleman's name. So yeah. So what's interesting to me is if they don't use him again in this show, that wouldn't seem that weird because he kind of rode off after a fight. It's very possible that he's like, fuck that, don't want any more of that. But that means they were planning on using him. Now they can't.
Yeah.
Which is quite sad. Because I really liked him. I think he executed his role really well. He had that charisma of this guy who enjoys expensive art and loves the thrill of stealing, but also it is a legitimate threat.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see where they take that because they've had like the chance that if they wanted to tweak or like cut stuff out to change how he's going to be used since they've had, but yeah, I don't. The problem is like I don't with the way the story's going. I don't see how he's gonna be like used as a main focus, like main character.
I think it was a very old school Marvel move of the characters in a shot. You get given their name, but not the name everyone associates with them. And then you move on, so it's there if you want to go back to it, and if not, you don't have to.
Yeah, which is a shame because like they'll probably like they're most likely still going to use that character. It's just unfortunate that they're going to have to probably recast
it. That, but they never used the leader who was teased all the way back in Incredible Hulk.
But that's the Hulk.
I know, but the leader's a brilliant villain.
Yeah, but the Hulk's just like there. The Hulk's, I mean, it's a bit different.
You get my point now.
I get what you mean.
And what I've just realised, and this is going to throw you off because it's not in the notes, but it's just coming to play because we talk about the Hulk. It happened during our 2 weeks off, which is why we didn't talk about it. The actor who plays General Ross.
Oh yeah,
passed away.
Yeah, he did.
Which is really sad. He's been in the MCU. Well, I mean, before he passed away, he would be the tied longest member of the MCU now with Mark Ruffalo. No, longer than Mark Ruffalo because Mark Ruffalo wasn't in the Incredible Hulk.
No, he wasn't.
So other than anyone who appeared in Iron Man 1, who may be happy,
I'm trying to remember
the longest serving character.
Did Robert Downey Jr. show up in the Incredible Hulk post credit?
Yes, he did.
So I guess that's the only other person that's been as long.
Yeah, RDJ and anyone, because obviously Iron Man 1 was before the Incredible.
Oh, was it?
Anyone,
Wait, was it?
yeah. Iron Man was
Why
the
did
first
I think
MCU movie.
Incredible Hulk was out
There
before?
was a Hulk film before Iron Man, but that's not part of the MCU.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hulk's so messed up.
Yeah. So anyone who appeared in Iron Man and is still in the MCU
It's longest.
is longest serving. But he was right up there. He's
Yeah,
there
yeah.
from the ground level with your Samuel L. Jacksons, your Robert Downey Jr.'s,
Mm-hmm.
your John Favreau's. So that was really sad. Because he was desperate to get to play Red Hulk.
Oh, that would have been
He
cool.
said on a number of occasions that he wanted to be able to do Red Hulk. So it makes me sad more than anything else that he didn't get to do that because he wanted to. But yeah, I thought that deserved a little mention because I know how
Yep.
we were off, but that is quite sad.
Trying to remember what the end of. Oh, Country got bound in the pyramid.
Conchu got put in prison.
That's
Conchu
obviously
got
going to be.
sentenced to a
There's going to
stake.
be an episode of breaking him out of that.
So I think what this is going to do is it's going to give us time to really understand how much of Mark's psyche is shattered without Conchu in the picture.
And he kind of realizes he needs him.
Yeah, I think he's going to realise that he does need Conchu. I think it's going to cause Conchu to be less of an utter twat. But it also allows us to have more of an Indiana Jones vibe, which they've said we're going to get because he's not superpowered.
Yeah, and he's going to have to break into a pyramid and steal an artifact.
I will not be
switcheroo.
surprised. I will not be surprised if we get an homage to Raiders of the Lost Ark with the boulder.
I was going to say, a
in
rolling
one
boulder.
way or another, yeah.
Some trap goes off in the pyramid. And a little switcheroo on the pedestal or something.
Did you also catch what was being discussed about Mark keeping from his ex-wife?
Did he have something to do with killing
Yes.
her father or whatever?
They mentioned in one of the previous episodes that Mark became Moon Knight and got saved by Khonshu after killing people and going into a pyramid. One of the professors he killed must have been his wife's dad. And I didn't realise that that was the relation. But then when I realised her dad at the beginning of episode 3 was the professor he killed, I didn't realise that she didn't know.
Yeah, that's gonna come back and bite him in the ass.
Especially bearing in mind he's very well aware it was her dad. She has no idea, and right now he's heavily to survive and get through it.
Yeah, that's gonna. I also, do you know what I also liked with her in this episode? She clearly prefers the Steven.
Yes.
Persona. They have a lot more. She has a lot more in common with this Steven personality, and I guess on a personal level. But then with Mark, it's like a work level kind of shared interest of things.
But overall, very, very enjoyable episode.
Yeah.
I'm completely hooked. I don't really know where the story's going, but not in a way of more in a way of, oh, anything could happen. I'm very excited to see what does.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's obviously all going to relate to this tomb they're searching for, or burial site. It's just like, how far along does all this get? And what happens in between?
I will not be surprised if Amit gets released and we get a very, very cool fight of Arthur back at full power as Amit's avatar versus Mark as Khonshu's avatar. That leads to some fucking awesome looking fight scene, but also leads to the 3 personalities working together.
I agree. I think there's definitely going to be some big ass fight scene, which is going to be sick. I also, like we said it last week, but the pacing still, like, it doesn't feel like they're trying to speed anything up to get to a point where they need to be. Doesn't feel like they've slowed down at all. Like this pace that they've got suits this show very well.
Yeah, they're holding a really nice level with it. I'm very happy. As I've said, that's my only real complaint with the previous Marvel shows. The pacing at times was a bit off. Still very enjoyable, but it was a bit off. This show, for me personally, has a much nicer pacing.
I do think I think I said it last week, but I do think that's down to the whole split personalities and being able to pace episodes around the reveals of them, and
yeah, definitely.
It just makes for a very easy like plan for a show sort of thing. But yeah, looking forward to the next episode. What's next?
So yeah, so we've got a couple of I guess just